first started writing the Mortal Instruments in about 2004, so to actually the filming, which was in 2012, I mean, that's 8 years. What was interesting for me was that I was writing the last book of the series on set, so one of the really interesting aspects was being able to see where it all started while writing where it all ends. So I was reminded by watching Lily and watching Robbie and watching Jamie how different the characters were back in the beginning of the story from where they have ended up. And that was fascinating.
That blonde girl over there was totally flirting with you. Ask her out.
That wouldn't be fair.
Why?
Because I'm saving myself for someone else.
Who? And Cassandra, I think we were talking about it recently about how long it's been to get to this point, but it's one of those things that it's meant to be the way that it turned out, and I'm so proud of it. It's great to have been a fan of the series first, though, because it is like having a fan be cast as a heroine that they admire so much, and of course that adds a little bit more pressure. Did you just use some...
How are you feeling?
Fine, why?
You make sure you come straight home tonight.
Mom, come on. Just a poetry reading.
I know.
Clary's a very, ordinary girl in the beginning of the books, and one of the great things about Lily is she's actually really great at capturing Clary's strength and her vulnerability. She's very physically much like Clary. She looks like her, she's very delicate like her, very, small like her. She can also kick and punch and fight, and you really believe it when she's fighting.
Without this cup, we are lost.
Not we. You.
We'd been watching all these different auditions for people to play Jace, and none of them really quite hit it right. And I kept thinking, oh my God, we're never gonna find the right person. It's impossible. I've written an impossible character. No one can play them. And then Jamie came and did this audition with Lily, and because he was so good, I mean, she is also really good, but you could see that he made her better and she made him better. And I think that, if there's a definition of chemistry, then that's probably what it is. And so I thought these, both of them are terrific, and not only that, they have terrific chemistry. And so this is the first time I've seen this, we all just kind of straightened up, watching the audition, and we were like, he's terrific. And then, of course, he gets cast, you immediately get a million people going, but he doesn't look right. Because they're looking at still pictures, and, they're not seeing, the character in motion.
Oh. What did that piano ever do to you? You play it like you've lost your only love.
Unfortunately, my one true love remains myself.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about rejection.
Not necessarily. I turn myself down occasionally just to keep it interesting.
Jace is just described in the books as, as this beautiful guy. But everybody has in their own mind their own image of what he must look like. I've had people write to me and think he has dark hair. I've had people, write to me and think he looks all sorts of different ways. And I'm like, well, there's no one person that's going to satisfy everybody's mental image of what the hottest guy in the world is. So what you need to do is wait and be patient and see him be Jace.
Wait.
What? Is that better?
That's better.
I really do feel like, he's basically won everybody over.
Cassie, she's been very vocal about what she wanted in the script and what moments she wanted us to focus on dramatically. And she's been very vocal about what she believes us all to be doing. I think she understands, as well as we all do, that this is an adaptation, and we have an hour and a half to show people a book that you couldn't read in an hour and a half. So we have to condense it. It has to be condensed. There have to be character points. We have to follow, certain moments.
Chase, do something!
This is the part when you start tearing off pieces of the shirt to bind my wounds.
If you wanted me to take my clothes off, you should have just asked.
Whilst also, in our own minds as actors, we have to be able to keep those going. And I think she understands that, and we understand that. But she has said to me, and she said to Lily and other people as well, that she's very proud that we're here bringing her book to life. We're very proud to be here bringing her book to life. That's a big deal. Without her, we wouldn't be here.
Jesus!
Nope, just me.
Come on, Simon.
Bye, Mrs. Frey.
I wanted Robbie from the beginning. When I came on to look at the auditions, there were a ton of different names, and I saw Robert Sheehan sort of pop off the pages, and I was thinking, he's a genius. You know, like, it's not often that you can be that young and be that great with comic timing. And Simon is a very funny character, but also a very vulnerable character, and so I thought he could really do it.
I guess I'm an old romantic. You know, I always hoped that when I finally said I love you to someone, she'd say the same thing back.
And that someone will.
Then I, you know, kind of went to Harold and was like, I want Robert Sheehan. And he was like, oh, I don't know, you know, we should look at lots of people, we should see lots of different options, we should explore this option and that option. And he just kept sending me other audition tapes of other people, and I kept saying, I want Robert Sheehan. I want Robert Sheehan. I just want Robert Sheehan. And he got so tired of me because he was like, I know what you're going to say, but, you know, just watch this. And I'd watch it, and I'd be like, I still want Robert Sheehan. So poor Robbie had to audition like 3 different times, and he did just a straight, like, you know, recorded audition. He did a Skype audition with Harold, and then he finally went to Toronto. And we had like 4 or 5 different Simons who went to Toronto to test with Lily and Jamie together. And so, you know, afterwards I'm waiting, and Harold calls, and I was like, so who was your favorite? And he's like, you know, I really like Robert Sheehan. I was like, I'm gonna kill you, Harold. I'm gonna kill you. It's like, I love him. And Lily and Jamie get on the phone too. They're behind him, and they're like, Robert Sheehan is amazing. He's great. Jamie like shouted really loudly. He was like, he's terrific, and he's really good looking. That's what I remember. Stuck in my head. And so that was it. And we had him. But he was the one I wanted from the beginning.
So wait, your mom is gone, and you're hanging around with some dyed blonde wannabe goth weirdo?
I think no 2 people in this world read a book and see a character the same way. So for you to go on screen and be in the movie version, you're kind of solidifying an image of that character to people who haven't read the book, or people who have, you know, and you're kind of giving them a solid version. And that's, I suppose, it's an exciting prospect, slightly scary one.
A lot of people came in to play Alec, and they played him just really angry. Kevin plays him not angry. He plays him a little bit vulnerable. And in the scenes where Clary and Jason are acting, you've got Alec in the background looking, you know, hurt. You know, when you look at him and you really feel for the guy, you know. And so I think that he managed to bring a lot of vulnerability to a part of a guy that could otherwise, I think, as he said, have been a real bummer, because he's the guy who doesn't want Clary there.
Pretty far from Brooklyn, isn't it? Stay away from Chase.
It's very weird with shooting something that people are already fans of, you know. It's definitely made me much more aware of what people expect. Not to say that I'm gonna do everything that people expect, but to know that people are fans of what we're doing certainly raises the level of expectation.
You're in love with Jace, and that's what this is really about.
If you ever say anything like that again, I'll kill you.
The fact that Alec is gay is incidental to his character. There's a lot of other things going on, but he's a really tough shadow hunter. He is a killer. He is a action hero, and the amount of, you know, action heroes who are gay that we see in media is minimal. I remember after the first, like, when we were up in Toronto and we were kind of looking over the screenplay, it was literally like just a few days before filming, and there were actually in that first draft of the screenplay literally was only a brief, like, passing mention of Alec's sexuality, and I was worried that it would get cut, and I think that part of the reason that it didn't is that there's not that much in the first book. It literally is just a detail about Alec's character, but so I was worried that it would get cut because it was so small, but I think in part it made it in because it was so small.
Oh, come on, Clary. You must have guessed by now. All these amazing talents that your mother so desperately tried to suppress, where do you think they came from?
I'm really proud of Jonathan Rhys-Meyers and his interpretation of Valentine. In my mind, Valentine had always been this very soft-spoken, deadly kind of corporate guy, you know, in a suit. And he really wanted to play him, like, a little bit wild. And so the first time I saw him sort of come out on to the set in his, you know, leather with all of his, like, you know, tattoos and his braids, I was like, whoa, you know, he's really, like, scary and not at all like I picture Valentine. But he draws you in.
Listen, it's all in your head.
He is a compelling compelling actor to watch.
I've been waiting all these years to do this. Clary's given me no choice. This is almost like chapter 1. I think millions of young ladies and young men have read these books. They'll want to see the film. Clary, run! And cut.
Very, very nice. Now we need to just fall back and get the whole damn thing with Luke in the foreground. We'll overlap a little bit with this time, so get the whole fight.
Everybody's worked so hard. The crew are magnificent. The Canadian crew are magnificent. The ones that they've brought from abroad are magnificent. They work very hard, they're very kind, they're selfless and generous. And they've given themselves 100% to this project.
Cut. Fantastic. Check the gate. Beautiful.
What's important to me is that people get to enter this world for 1.5 hours or 2 hours and feel that, wow, they really did it. They really brought it to life.
I think that they're going to do an amazing job.